Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Hafidades and Tiro, welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry. You know, during these times of need, there are a lot of local organizations that are out there helping the community, and we're featuring one of them today who has actually been helping not just during COVID-19, but for a number of years now, the Empty Vessel Ministry Foundation. And with us today are President Rosalyn Ajoste and Vice President Chandace Cooper. Ladies, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
I gotta say thank you for taking time out from your regular work and your volunteer work with Empty Vessel to be with us today. Start us off with, what is the mission of Empty Vessel?
Okay, well, thank you for having us. Empty Vessel's mission is, first of all, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to share the good news of Jesus Christ while meeting the needs of underprivileged individuals in our community. We have a vision, and our vision is to, our work aims to spread the good news by breaking the vicious cycles of unmet needs. Now, and today there's so many things going on, especially with the pandemic, especially with a lot of things we're pulling out from the States, and it's kind of being carried here, like racism or anything that can influence us. So we try to take a load off of people's worries by helping provide food. So we're starting off with small things, and of course, as we grow, we're going to increase to widen our ways of helping others. But some unmet needs, social isolation while restoring hope for a better future. We believe that every person has the right to access resources and opportunities in order to live and develop with dignity and to become an active and contributing member of our society. And we do all of this in the name of Christ Jesus. So we love others because he first loved us. And this is something we decided to just kind of bring out there. And sometimes it's kind of hard. It's definitely it's not easy at all, but I think it's growing us, and we're learning a lot from these experiences.
Well, I know that one of the things that Empty Vessel is best known for is, as you mentioned, your disaster relief, and especially now with people having a lot of needs because of the pandemic, being out of work. And one of the things actually you're very well known for is your public relations, which is why we're seeing a lot of coverage of what you're doing. What are you doing now in response to this pandemic?
Oh, well, so far, so this Empty Vessel has a new team, and we've all just kind of joined in right after, like around February. I think majority of us have joined in a little maybe January, February. So we're getting our team together, and we're just people who I didn't know half of us. And it's really cool because we're growing together as we go. Some of the things that we've done already is about food drives. And what we do is we have to wait for sponsors to help donate certain either monetary donations or canned goods. And we even have people giving in toys and clothes too. So we offer drives that help give people an opportunity to kind of like brace themselves, because a lot of people are limited, and you see a lot of people, like we'll host a food drive once money comes in, or we get things ready, we pack all the food. And then we have we let people know that, hey, we have free food here. Come and grab it. And of course, we don't charge them anything, but the lines, they just keep going. I mean, this was the first 2 food drives, of course.
This year?
Yes, this first 2 drives. Yeah, it was, you just had to register, and then, well, prior. But now we're starting something different, you know. You just had to register, then you'd get a call from us saying, hey, we're going to give an opportunity to distribute food this day. Please come and join us.
And who is eligible to receive this food?
Actually, we have no set, but anybody can receive the food. But now we're trying to start something different. We're planning on, at least when you register, you will be asked to donate $1 for registration, and just $1. And so it's not really mandatory, but we would like if you could donate that $1. And whatever money that comes in from that, it helps us provide for either office supplies or minor things, because plastic bags, because everything we have is, of course, donated or sponsored. So if the people would like to donate $1 every time they register, it would help us in small ways to kind of like defer payment on certain areas. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not going to cover everything, but it would help with, small kind office supplies.
And it's good to give back. Mm-hmm. I think it's like, even if you have very little, but you have that heart to help somebody else, it's good for the character. It's good for the soul.
Oh yes, yeah, and it does feel good giving, and it's just $1.
So how many people, or can you quantify like how many people you've helped or how much food you've given out since this pandemic started?
Well, yes, most of us came on board in February, and for those of you who don't know, Empty Vessel started in 2006, and I'd just like to give a shout out to the founders of Empty Vessel, Dr. Joel and Rosabella Smith, and they will be returning to Kenya very soon, but they have been pillars in our community for the last 14 years, and so they were actually at one point considering closing EVM, but when we heard that they were closing, I think that was the reason why this new group decided to come on board, because we didn't want the mission to close. We wanted to keep it going. So since we had an event in February called Romance in the Marianas, and we were able to cut the debt of EVM in half just from that one fundraising event. And then shortly after that, the pandemic started. So from February up until now, we have served approximately 5,000 people in about 7 or 8 different food distributions. So the distribution started off serving 100 to 200 people, but then as people continued to be laid off and word started to spread, more names started appearing, and then we increased to 300 and 400, and then 500, and then the last 3 distributions have been over 1,000 people have been served.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you get donations from people, and I think it's important to point out that the foundation, actually, none of you were paid. You're just paying for like your rent and your like basic utilities and
absolutely. It actually costs about $1,000 a month to keep EVM open. We pay rent, we pay utilities, and we pay communications, internet, and telephone. And right now, the money that comes in, we use most of it for food. And when we receive food donations, we give those right out to the community. But in order to keep us open, we have formed a group called the Friends of Empty Vessel Ministry, Friends of EVM. And anybody can become a member of the Friends of EVM. Right now we have about 10 members, which consists mostly of our board members and staff. And it costs $20 a month to become a member. And we are trusting God that we will have at least 50 members. If we have 50 members contributing $20 a month, that's enough to keep us running operationally from month to month. And everything else above that we will give to food and to our other services.
So who are the companies that have supported your food drive since the pandemic started?
Yes, there have been.
Or it may be individuals?
There have been dozens of individuals and companies, but I would like to name some just here on our island. We'd like to give a special thanks to the staff and management of First Hawaiian Bank, and to TSL Foundation, Jerry Tan and Merle Tolentino, the graduating class and the prom committee class of Cagman High School.
Really?
They donated their prom proceeds since they weren't going to have a prom because of the pandemic.
You're going to make me cry.
They donated, I believe, $1,600 to us, and that was a joint feeding between Cagman High School, TSL, and FHB that we did at Garpen Central Park. So thank you, Azuzus, from the bottom of our heart. We love you, and we were very touched by your gesture. And we also received food from Robert Hunter and the Office of the Governor. And several of our doctors at the hospital have contributed multiple times. Dr. Liz Trish, Dr. Peter and Su Feng Brett, and Dr. Julio Pena, who in a couple of distributions helped us to buy fresh vegetables,
wow,
which we were able to give out to several hundred.
Very appropriate coming from a doctor.
Absolutely, because they have seen higher incidences of heart disease and high blood pressure and cholesterol in young children. So we try to buy as fresh. We try to focus on protein sources, essential, some carbs, and of course some vegetables when they're in season. And we also would like to thank Joe 10 Superstore and their manager, Jason Sablon, as well as D&Q Distributors, CTSI Logistics, Marilyn Marin, and of course the United Way. And we just received a little bit of CARES. We will be receiving some CARES funding by next week. And also we had over 30 individuals contribute over $1,600 on our GoFundMe account. We do have a GoFundMe campaign that is still live, and our goal is set to $100,000, and we've currently received $1,600, which we have already used to feed the community. And so our GoFundMe link is still active, and so if you would like to give that way, you can give anonymously, or you can put your name there and leave a comment. We appreciate that as well. But thank you to all of our funders locally and stateside who've given to the ministry so far.
What are you seeing among the people who are coming to you for assistance at this time with food? Because you can imagine, like, for example, the parents are CW workers, they're furloughed maybe, and now they're not going to be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. What are you seeing among the families that you're serving?
Well, the vast majority are CWs. I don't know if we can name the ethnic groups. I mean, primarily, I would say Filipino and Chinese families have been coming in, but we have seen a number of locals and island residents of various ethnicities asking for assistance as well. Most of the people who message us through the Facebook messengers tend to have the same situation. That is, many of them were laid off of work as early as late January, early February, and which has now left them jobless for 4 or 5 months now. I don't know how they are surviving, and not all of them qualify for food stamps because some of them were working prior to the pandemic, and I'm not sure what their situation is now, but at the time they asked for assistance because of that. Some were turned away from other organizations for not having met requirements, and we have served a number of homeless people. We do have some regulars that are repeat visitors, and people are allowed to ask for food more than once. We don't ask too many questions. Our belief is that if you need it and you took the time to stand in line for 3 hours, we're not going to deny you a bag of food. A lot of manamku have been coming out as well. And our last couple distributions, we saw huge numbers from the Chinese community. And most recently, in response to the IPI protests out on the roadside, we did prepare bags for over 600 IPI workers, and we did go into some of the barracks. And out of all the communities, there was a Filipino community, Mongolian community, the Taiwanese community, and the workers from Italy and Turkey. But I'd have to say our friends from the Mongolian crowd were the most enthusiastic about the food. But they were all appreciative.
Well, it's really great that we have such a diverse community here, and that in times like this we can all open up our hearts and help each other. This kind of falls under your whole, if I'm not mistaken, disaster relief program, which not only started with COVID-19, but even after Super Typhoon U2, you guys were doing a lot of this.
Yeah, and it's actually becoming a little more easier as we keep going, because we're starting to strategize how we can distribute the food, how better we can help others. Because in the beginning, we did our first, well, for me, when I participated, it was my first food distribution. And I thought it was amazing. We had when we were down in Garapan, we did the drive-through, and then obviously we had more people walking in, so we were kind of doing trial and error, trying to figure out how things go. And so as we progressed, we've taken notes of things that, okay, let's not do this, but let's do it this way. Let's try to better our understanding of how we can help people.
What their needs are,
and how we can better service them to make them a little more happy, because we still have people who will call in and complain like, hey, I didn't get this, I registered, and so it's just mayhem. I mean, at our first distribution, we had over 1,000 people register, and so we're like, wow, so we had to filter through the names and try to sort everybody out, and so there's a lot of things we're learning as we go, because like I said, this is a totally different administration than who was running last year. So we're all, well, to my experience, we're all learning and we're all new, and it's like a fresh restart, and we're just like, okay, let's do this. But it's really, it's a great experience, and it's something different, and we really want to aim and target the people who are hurting, who need the help, and as long as they're willing to cooperate, it makes it so much easier for us. So it gets better as we go.
And we just want to apologize to any of you that we may have missed, either by accident or inadvertently. We know that our system is not perfect, and that we are not able to get everybody. Sometimes the demand is for 5,000, but we only have enough food for 1,000 people. So obviously, the people aren't going to get food. And we have made some mistakes along the way. We were learning with the social distancing that happened because the demand was higher than our expectation. We thought we were going to give out 100 bags, and we had 400 people show up. So we learned quickly how to deal with that situation. And we also learned that we had to move to a larger venue. EVM has been around for 14 years, and 501c3s, faith-based organizations are so important, because during times of disaster, people tend to cling toward traditional social structures like the church and family groups and village groups, and we go where the government cannot go. We saw from Typhoon Sodalor and from Typhoon Yutu, faith-based organizations like Samaritan's Purse and the Mennonites, they came down and helped with rebuilding homes and passing out emergency lighting and food, and we do the same thing. We're a local-based group, a faith-based grassroots organization, and anybody's welcome to join. And so I know that during Sodalor and Yutu, CNMI residents that live in the States, they banded together and put together containers. I believe there were a couple of containers that came from Hawaii and 2 from Washington.
Maybe Texas. I'm thinking Texas, but I'm not sure.
Right, as well. And we want to send a shout out to them and thank them for remembering us during those disasters. And each disaster is unique in its circumstances. But again, we just want to say, please, if you are not able to get served, please come and see us. And right now, as of this week, we are open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And both new and old registrants can come to the office, and all we ask is a $1 donation. And that $1 donation will allow you to reserve a bag of food as soon as food becomes available. And we do have our thrift store, and which is...
If it's all right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we can talk more about the thrift store and how people can get involved, because I don't want to rush you, because this is going to be a great opportunity for people to figure out how they can support what you're doing. Is that cool?
Sure.
Sounds good. I know you're ready to go. We'll be back after this break.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact our daily lives, including our cultural institutions and individuals who contribute to the humanities. The Northern Marianas Humanities Council is pleased to announce a new grant program to respond to the needs of nonprofit organizations and individual participants in the humanities who need support through this difficult time. The COVID-19 Relief Grant provides up to $15,000 to eligible organizations and up to $10,000 to eligible individuals. Visit the Northern Marianas Humanities Council website at www.nmhcouncil.org/COVID-19 to learn more about this opportunity for relief. The Northern Marianas Humanities Council COVID-19 relief grants are made possible by funding from the U.S. Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or CARES Act, and the National Endowment for the Humanities.
Welcome back to Your Humanities Half Hour. We are with Empty Vessel Ministry Foundation President Rosalyn Ajoste and Vice President Chandace Cooper. Rosalyn, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know you're ready to go the full half hour with all the information about Empty Vessel, which is totally great. I want to emphasize, or I would like you to emphasize that the importance of volunteerism in supporting this outreach, this support to the community.
Yes. Well, the staff of Empty Vessel are all volunteers. Volunteers means nobody is getting paid.
That includes you, the president.
Including myself. All of us we all have full-time jobs, and some of us are homemakers and raising families, and some we have government jobs and office jobs. I work in the educational field. And so we do all of this in our off hours, like after working hours, and we're taking advantage of the fact that, schools are shut down right now. So I have a little bit more time to donate to EVM. But our board members we are all female, and we're all different ethnicities. You could say we're all local residents, but I'm ethnically Filipino. We've got Palauan Samoan. We've got Carolinian. We've got Chamorro. We've got Tongan, and several Palauans on board. Yeah, but we're all just one big happy family, and I just think that's a great testimony to the love of Christ, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, and we are one body, we are of one mind, and we are a faith-based organization, and our message is to share the love of Christ with a lost and dying world. And so everything we do is out of our love for God and out of our love for each other and for our community and for fellow man. And
now, explain to us the title of the organization, Empty Vessel, because, wouldn't you want your vessel to be full?
We joke about our vessels being empty, especially when we run out of food. But Empty Vessel Ministry Foundation was named by Miss Rose Smith, and it's based on 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. It's the story about the widow's oil and about how she didn't have any food. And I believe it was the prophet Elisha came to her house and asked for provisions. And she said, I have nothing but a little bit of oil and flour. And he said, go and get it. And he spoke it to her, and he said, go inside and fill up all your jars and grab all the jars in your house and then go and sell it, and you can live off of that oil. And so she went in, and it was a miracle that occurred. The story is about God's provision in the midst of poverty. And, when we began our journey with Empty Vessel in February, the ministry was on the verge of closing, and we were several $1,000s in debt. But in just 6 short months, we went from paying off $10,000 worth of debt to feeding 5,000 people in the community, and we're now, our rent is paid 3 months in advance. Talk about provision in the midst of poverty, in the midst of a COVID pandemic. That is God answering our prayers, because we were down on our knees crying out for God to open the storehouses of heaven, to open the floodgates of heaven. And he has done that. And Lord, we just give you thanks and praise for what you have done, because there is nobody else who could have done that. And we are trusting him to take us all the way to the end of the year. And we are trusting him to do more, to go over and beyond what we could have imagined. And I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. And I'm a little emotional because I know that it's real. And he did it for us. And I know that, we have asked him to multiply the food so many times where we thought we were just going to get 100 or 200 bags. And we ended up serving 300 people that day. And we don't know how it happened, but it happened. And it may just be a bag of food, but, we pray that God would let that one bag of food last a week or two. And And we just know that he is faithful, and that we want people to know that God is real, and it doesn't matter what your circumstances say. If you trust him and you really believe what the word of God says, he will provide. And so all we did was take a step of faith and trust him for a miracle, and the rest is up to him, because that's all he's called us to do.
Well, definitely it's real for everybody who received a bag of food of you in the last few months, and since the foundation, the current assistance you're giving to the community through the food giveaway, that's not the only thing that you guys have on the horizon. What else are you looking to do, hopefully, when all of your resources are not necessarily devoted to this when we get over this pandemic? What's on the horizon for you guys?
Well, another one of our mission statements and our core values is female empowerment. Like I said, we are an all-female board and ministry, all local women, and we have recognized the need for better health. And in the past, we were able to put on a summer program, which was funded by the Hyatt Thrive program. But we have also submitted another proposal for a women's fitness class. I know that we have concerns about diabetes and cancer rates being so high in the community, and many of us in our ministry have taken steps to better our health. We've started a women's walking group down at the track and field, and that doesn't cost anything to join. Anybody's welcome.
When do you guys meet?
Every night, 6:30-ish.
Okay.
The lights turn off at 9 p.m. So we take advantage of the track being well lit up until about 9 o'clock. So some days we get there a little earlier, but there are hundreds of people out on the track every day. I think being locked up for a few months has made people appreciate the ability to move around. And so we'd like to offer aerobics classes, dance classes, Tai Chi classes.
All right.
We heard that you teach Tai Chi. Maybe you could teach a class with us as well. And anything that gets the blood circulating, gets us up and moving and breathing that clean air, and reducing. We're also taking steps to reduce our sugar intake, and to eat more organically, to eat more fruits and vegetables. I myself, I got sick at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's taken me 2 months, but I've lost a few inches and regained my energy, and I feel great. So we're going to continue doing this, and I hope that if anybody would like to sponsor us, or if we receive funding in the future, we would love to be able to host some aerobics classes for the community, and it would be free, and everybody would be welcome to join us.
Well, before we close, I do want to give you the opportunity, one, to share the contacts. You mentioned that you have a GoFundMe page. And how can people get in touch with you, either to support you through donations, volunteerism, or to sign up if they need assistance?
Okay, so you can reach us several ways. We have been getting inundated with thousands of requests through our FB Messenger, so we don't normally respond to our customers through the FB page. We encourage everybody to come to our office physically on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And those are our hours until further notice. We aren't able to open every day because we don't have full-time staff, and we can't afford to pay full-time staff, and we really need to work around our volunteer schedules. Another option is to email us at emptyvesselministry@gmail.com, or you can call us directly to our office phone at 235-2340.
Say it one more time.
235-2340.
Okay.
But we'll only answer if somebody's in the office.
So the email sounds like the best way, or coming in person during those hours. But can they sign up via email for a bag of food?
No.
Okay.
They have to come in person.
Okay.
And we encourage them to give their $1 donation.
Oh, that makes sense.
And that $1 donation will secure their bag of food.
But if they want to donate, email is a good way to contact you.
Donation is another story.
me out here, Rosalyn.
Okay, the best way to donate, yes, is through email. We also have a live GoFundMe page. If you just type in GoFundMe Empty Vessel, it'll take you straight to our link. We're the only empty vessel on GoFundMe. I've done the test.
Okay.
And so the GoFundMe is set to $100,000, so the campaign will continue until we reach our goal. We've received 1,600 so far, and thank you again to our sponsors. But that link will remain active until further notice. And also, they can call me directly. We won't say no to a donation. There are a couple of us that do look at the Facebook page. It takes a lot of manpower to go through all the messages. But we try to scan them from time to time.
When you're trying to hand out food.
Yes.
Right. Final thoughts, Chandace?
Thank you for this opportunity. Oh, but I just want to let you guys know that, in the future, we're looking into doing some small-time fundraisers as well, like a car wash and hot lunch. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll keep you posted on the Facebook and so forth. And so this has been a really great experience, and we're going to keep learning as we go. And I know God puts people in places to get the certain things done, and sometimes to help you learn and grow from wherever you're at. So this is a great opportunity for us to grow and learn. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here, and God bless everybody.
Well, thanks for coming. Rosalyn?
I don't know what to say. Just thank you, Kathy, for having us, and thank you to the community. I hope that you all pray about becoming a member and supporting us and becoming a friend of EVM. It's $20 a month to become a member, and we just want to thank God for this opportunity to share the gospel and to serve the community, and we just pray for the best outcome for everybody, and if we can help even just one life at a time, I think it makes it all worth it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We've been chatting today with Rosalyn Ajoste, the president, and Chandace Cooper, the vice president of Empty Vessel Ministry Foundation. And you can find them on Facebook. If you are in need of food, you must show up in person at the office to register during the hours that they mentioned. They ask that you donate $1 each time you are going to receive a bag of food. If you can, that would be great. And for other inquiries, you can contact them via email or Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you've been inspired by their work today to reach out and do more for each other during this time of need. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.